Hello everyone, welcome back to Rolling Solo. My name is Adam Smith, and today we are playing some more of Descent Legends of the Dark from Fantasy Flight Games. If you haven't checked out my unboxing video, setup video, and part number 1 of the gameplay, then you're going to want to do so to get a better understanding as to where we currently are right now as we head underneath of an archway and into the dungeon and explore in here, trying to find 4 keys necessary to open up this giant steel gate at the top left. So for those of you that have missed that prior content, I'll put it all in a link in the top right hand corner for you. And without further ado, we'll pick it up exactly where we left it off with Varrix's turn. He's already gone ahead and did 1 action on his turn in the end of the last video. We'll do 2 more actions and then we'll move on to Cyrus. Varrix did an explore action at the end of the last video, so we have a maneuver action left over and then 1 additional action. Well, we want to get close to that zealot to take it out. Varrix chooses to use the maneuver action and moves 3 spaces forward to get within reach. Remember, reach is a keyword on his Riverwatch spear to be able to make an attack, and he's perfectly within range right now, 2 spaces away. Now we're going to head inside the app and we're going to click on the portrait and do an attack from Varrix on this enemy. All right, he's currently got the Riverwatch spear equipped, so we'll go ahead with that. It states here random enemy is going to add 2 damage to its next activation, so that's definitely not good. We really want to destroy this thing. And on it, it looks like, we already have one of its weaknesses already made known. But unfortunately, my weapon right now is not tied to that weakness. I have Pierce, and I believe that one is Slash. So we're not going to get any benefits that way. But we're going to roll the blue die right now and see how we do and what we can change in order to make this a better attack. Okay, so we got an advantage and 1 success. All right, so I got a plan to put a lot of damage on this thing. So we've got a success and 1 advantage to use right now. So I'm going to go ahead and place 1 fatigue on this weapon over here in order to allow me to convert that advantage to a success, and now we have 2. Then down here I have the survivor ability that states I can spend 2 fatigue on this card, and during your attack add a surge, which means I could then trigger the ability on this thing over here. So let's go ahead and do that. We'll place 2 fatigue here to pay for the survivor ability. We now gain a surge that we can use over here, adding 2 on top of the 2 I already have, so 4, and we get to enfeeble the enemy on top of it. Heading back inside the app, we'll go ahead and we'll go 1, 2, 3, and 4. This should be a decent hit for sure. And we'll go ahead and hit confirm, see how much gets through. 11 damage. That was a pretty solid attack. I'm pretty happy with that. Now, currently that's all that Varrix can do. So we'll go ahead and hit continue, and we're going to switch over to Cyrus. Based on Cyrus's current loadout, and one thing to mention, we have not yet flipped over either of our hero cards themselves to see what special abilities on the other side. You guys that haven't played the game yet likely don't know what's on the opposite side, but I've already taken a look, and definitely during this video we'll be using the hero cards on their opposite sides as well, because they have some pretty cool hero abilities on the other side. But for right now, let's focus on taking down this zealot. I've got a maneuver action I can spend here, so let's go ahead and have Cyrus move forward to get to the top of the stairs. Just like that, Cyrus is ready to make 2 attacks back to back if needed, because I've got 2 actions remaining now. Let's use the crooked staff and see how much damage we can do in the app. Inside the app, we'll go ahead and drag Cyrus over to this enemy, and we currently have equipped the staff, and it states a random enemy is going to add 2 more damage to his next activation. So right now, this zealot, if it stays alive, it is going to be throwing some serious damage at us, which is another one of the reasons why I want to wipe this thing out as fast as possible. Let's go ahead and roll an orange die for Cyrus and see how things pan out. We got ourselves 2 successes, 2 clean successes, so nothing there we can change. Taking a look at his abilities here, for Empower, it says for 1 fatigue, after you roll, convert something. We don't have anything to convert. And then the Crooked Staff states for 2 fatigue, before your attack or defense, discard 2 fatigue from 1 other card, which is handy, but we don't have any fatigue anyway, so we're good there. So we'll just go ahead and input the 2 successes into the app. 1 and 2. And we're going to go ahead and hit confirm and see how this pans out. That's going to be 5 damage. Very close, but we're going to have to do another attack. So let's go ahead and do that. We're going to need to roll the die again. I'm hoping this last attack will do it, and we can clear this up right before the darkness phase begins, because otherwise this murder thing is going to really hurt me. All right, another 2 successes, so that will work. Let's go ahead and enter those into the app. We'll go ahead and hit confirm. That zealot should be dead. It says the following has been added to your inventory to be used later. 1 toxos, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, from some broken bottles, and a shadowstone bracer's recipe. We now remove the zealot from play, and we'll hit continue. Now I still technically have one more action, and I could use it to do a maneuver, let's say with Cyrus, or I could potentially do a ready action in order to flip something to the opposite side. Rather than move this time around, I'm going to actually choose to flip over my weapon. We're not going to flip over the hero card just yet, but I am eyeing doing that in the future. As you guys are going to be interested to see, there is a unique action that Cyrus can do on the opposite side of his hero card. Now, the other reason I'm doing this is because it allows me a lot more range with the Glimmering Wand, which I think when I go through a door, especially in a situation where I may not have a ton of actions to do a lot of attacking out of the gates on the next hero phase, having range could be useful. Heading inside the app, we'll go ahead and hit end phase and see what happens in the darkness phase. This time it states resolve infection and terror. We don't have any, but we each get to discard 1 fatigue. Cyrus currently doesn't have one, so nothing to discard there, but I will certainly take a fatigue here off the hero card for Varix because strategy-wise, I want to have the availability to add 2 more fatigue in the future to take advantage of this ability before we hit our maximum, whereas if I take it off this one, I don't really gain too much back. So we'll go ahead and just remove 1 here, and that will do it. Heading back inside the app, we'll hit continue and see what happens next. Hero phase comes back around. All right, things are nice and peaceful right now. We've wiped out all the enemies. We can take our time here. Maybe we can get ourselves set up in terms of what side of our hero card we currently want. I would like to flip those over and start using the other abilities we haven't seen yet. In hindsight, where I took the fatigue from wasn't a good idea because I planned to do a ready action and flip over my hero card for Varix, which would have gotten rid of the fatigue, all of it off the card. So if I'd have been smarter in thinking about things in advance, then I would have taken it off the Riverwatch Spear, and then when I do this next ready action, which I'm doing right now, I would have no fatigue in play rather than the one I currently still have on Riverwatch. But guess what? You have to live and learn sometimes, and you can see now a brand new ability over here, Respite, Restoration for 2 fatigue during your turn. You or an adjacent hero heals 2. This is the major reason I wanted to do this, because we really want to heal Cyrus back up. So this is a pretty cool ability because it states during your turn, you or an adjacent hero heals 2 health, and I am still adjacent to Cyrus. Even though we are on different levels of the stairs, you think about things as if they're flat, so we are still adjacent. So I'm going to go ahead and spend 2 fatigue right now. This does not cost an action. The only reason it would is if there was an arrowhead sitting right there in front of it, letting you know that's a unique action, which is specified right down here. So this one, we just have to go ahead and place 2 fatigue, and we can bump up the health of Cyrus by 2. Not bad, not bad at all. So we got him very close to his maximum health. He went from 4 up to 6. For my second action, I've actually decided to go ahead and flip over my Riverwatch Spear. So in the end, that particular piece of fatigue is going to go away anyway. So we'll go ahead and take it off and flip the card over. So again, we have something a little bit more aggressive going in here. So we have our Varix character focusing on being very close to the enemies, whereas we want to keep Cyrus in the back, seeing as he has the least health. Last thing to do is I'm going to have Varix move towards the door on the right. Varix is now in position, and we'll move to Cyrus's turn. He's also going to maneuver and using his movement points to get towards the exact same door. Our heroes are now in position. I still have 2 additional actions to spend with Cyrus. I am not going to open that door near the end of a hero phase. I always like waiting until the next round, especially if, at least at the current time, the darkness phase doesn't have too many nasty things coming at us. But if we had a bunch of conditions, or it was maybe a more advanced level during the campaign where nasty things are being hit every time you go into the darkness phase, which will likely happen, I would not be waiting. I'm going to go ahead and use a ready action in order to flip over Cyrus's hero card to the other side. And this now gives me the ability to take a unique action for the first time. We have Phoenix Bond, and it states here, an enemy in line of sight suffers 2 damage for each fatigue on this card, and then you flip the card. So basically, you're trying to purposely place fatigue on the hero card and build it up, whether you're suffering it from the app or you're converting advantage icons, because in those 2 situations, you can place the fatigue wherever you want. So you'd want to build it up on the card, and then once you have enough fatigue on there, you'd want to unleash that ability ability. There's nothing else that I plan to do, so inside the app we're going to go ahead and hit end phase, and again, actions that you're given on a given turn, you do not have to use all of them. It says may in the rulebook, so you don't have to. You can just choose to not do any actions if you really don't want to. So we're going to end the phase right now, going into the darkness phase, and we're going to go ahead and we can now discard 1 fatigue. Do we have any fatigue anywhere? I guess Varix does. On his hero card he has 2, so we'll take 1 away, and we'll go ahead and hit continue, and we move back to the hero phase. We are more than ready to bust this door open and find out what's on the other side. This time around, we're going to have Cyrus start things off first. That way we can open the door, see what's there. He's got long range ability, so I can either step back if I need to or run in a little bit closer. So let's go ahead into the app and interact with this door. We'll go ahead and choose Cyrus inside the app, drag it all the way over to the door, and let's see what happens. The door swings open, revealing a small cellar. Remove the door. All right. It looks like we're placing tile 6A, 1 shelf in there, and 1 staircase. And we'll go ahead and hit continue. Hey, that bookshelf seems like it has plenty for me to investigate. I've got this. Cyrus points to the bookshelf. Cyrus must be the first one to interact with the shelf. So it's telling us in this situation, Cyrus needs to be the one that interacts with this. And we'll go ahead and hit continue. It says a guard lays unconscious in the corner covered in deep gashes. We're going to be placing an exploration token. All right. And that's going to do it. Let's set this up on the table. Well, I'm certainly intrigued, and Cyrus wants to get in there and interact with stuff. So Cyrus has a movement of 4. We might as well move in as far as we can. So Cyrus has made it adjacent to that downed guard and is going to use the last action in order to explore the token. Jumping inside the app, we'll go ahead and drag Cyrus all the way over to that Explorer token and see what happens. It says, from your belt, you pull out a small water skin and wet the guard's lips. Thank you, he sputters as he raises his head. The Ulfuck's attack against us was unlike anything we've ever seen in my years of service. A powerful blood witch led them, accompanied by bandits and zealots. I only heard snippets, but she said something about calling on a demon from beyond the veil. Whatever she is planning, if she succeeds, it would be our downfall. He pulls himself up to rest against a darkened corner of the cellar. You'll need this to go through the gate, and these should help you on your way. He passes you a key and 2 small vials. Ah, that's pretty handy. Go ahead and hit continue. Gain the following 2 cards, 2 vigor potions. We'll go ahead and hit continue again. We have gained Vigor Potion Consumable. Give each hero 1 copy of the potion. Consumables provide unique effects, each of which is described on the card. After a consumable is used, a hero removes it from their play area. You can learn more about it inside of the rules and learn to play guide. And of course, the objective has been updated. Now we have 1 of the 4 keys we need, and we'll hit continue. The token has been removed, and each of the heroes now has a Vigor Potion. This one states on it, during your turn, you or an adjacent hero either heals 3 or discards 3 fatigue. That is going to come in handy for sure. So this certainly provides quite the crossroads for Varix as he is up next, and technically, based on the app, Cyrus needs to be the first person to interact with the bookshelf. So sending Varix down there to do anything doesn't sound like a real wise decision. However, potentially sending him through that door to the north may not be a wise decision, as it might split up our party in 2 different sides of the board and put Varix in a really nasty spot. But again, I don't know what's behind that door, so it might just be another bookshelf. I have no idea. So what I think I might do, seeing as we don't have any enemies in play, is I'll still bring Varix down towards the bookshelf. Maybe what we'll do is flip over a couple of his cards and ready them to get rid of all the fatigue he has on his hero card, which is just 1 at this point, and we'll just do some basic maintenance of his character and then jump into the darkness phase where we know things should be pretty peaceful. So I had to use my maneuver action as well as another maneuver action to get enough movement, 6, to be able to get down to the bookcase, which is perfectly fine. Again, I'm not going to explore this yet. I'll leave it for Cyrus, but maybe Varix can explore it afterwards as the app indicated. For now, we're going to go back to the hero board for Varix, where I'm going to flip the hero card over in order to bring back the ability we had from before and get rid of some fatigue. So we'll ready up here. The hero card will be flipped over and that fatigue will be gone. We don't necessarily need the respite ability of the restoration at this moment anymore because Cyrus is in a better place and also has a Vigor Potion available. Plus, the survivor ability pairs really, really well with the ability off the War Bell. At this point, we'll head back inside the app where we're going to end the phase and move into the darkness phase, where it will likely tell us to remove some, so we don't have anything here we need to resolve, so we'll go ahead and hit continue, right back into the hero phase, and now we can activate Cyrus to check out that bookcase first. Cyrus is going to use 2 of his 4 movement to get to the bookcase, and we'll now head into the app as he's going to explore it, interact with it. So we'll go ahead and drag from the portrait over to the bookcase and see what happens. Books, bottles, and all kinds of other things line 3 shelves, all covered in dust. We can search the books, the baubles, if I'm even saying that correctly, and the bottles. Okay, well, bottles sound like it could be consumables. Books could be useful information, and then I have no idea what the bottom one is. So let's go with the word that I'm completely unfamiliar with myself. So we'll go ahead and hit that. It says an hourglass flows in reverse. Send a sand gathering in the top of the glass. A hero may perform 2 additional actions. Oh, wow. Okay, well, that's pretty amazing. Go ahead and hit continue. As you gather items off the shelf, you find a small key. Look at that. We found one of the keys we need. That's perfect. And I do get to perform 2 additional actions too, which is pretty awesome. So our objective has been updated. We now have 2 of the 4 keys. As you step away from the bookshelf, 2 books catch your eye. Which one will you take? These are Cyrus's virtues. Virtues have an effect on your hero's fate and journey. These may carry forward both narrative and mechanical implications later in the campaign, and you can learn more about it inside of the rulebook. So we get a choice here. Do we pick the personal history, or do we choose the recipes and spells? I think recipes and spells. Let's go with that one. So we'll go optimism. We have ambition on the other side. We'll click on that, just like that. So these are decisions that are going to have ripple effects inside your campaign and stowed away inside of the app for later. So I maneuvered to the bookcase, I explored it, I still have another action after that, so let's go ahead and interact with the bookcase again inside the app, and I still have additional 2 actions after that as well. So let's go ahead and search the books. The following has been added to your inventory to be used later: the rabbit foot potion recipe. Very nice. Okay, so let's go ahead and interact with the other thing on this shelf as well while we're at it. Search for the bottles. Gain the following cards. 1 antidote potion. I'm pretty happy about that. For those of you curious about what that antidote potion does, it says during your turn, you or an adjacent hero discards up to 3 conditions. So I have 1 action remaining, as well as 2 movement points from my first maneuver action. So I get 2 movement, and I'm going to go ahead and use my other action as another thing of movement, which will give me another 4 movement. So a total of 6. That should get me quite a ways up the stairs. All right, so Cyrus is pretty happy, basically looted that entire bookcase, leaving pretty much nothing for Varix. But Varix is going to now go ahead and do a maneuver to get up the stairs. He only gets 3 movements, so he's going to need to use a couple actions to get up there. Varix has used all 3 actions to get as many movement points as possible in order to get towards the door. At this point, we'll head back inside the app, we'll end our phase, and we're going into a darkness phase here. We have no conditions, no need to remove any fatigue. We'll go ahead and hit continue, goes back to the hero phase. Again, it might seem like the darkness phase does much of nothing in this intro scenario, and that's because things are quite light. If you up the difficulty, that will change, and on top of this, as you progress further into campaign, that darkness phase becomes a real pain when conditions start getting into the equation. Of course, they start things out light to give you a feeling of how things flow. Things are going to start ramping up as you go. This time, Varix is going to go first, and Varix is going to interact with that door, so we'll drag the portrait over to that other door and see what happens. The door swings open, revealing a small barracks, and we're going to remove this door. So we're going to go ahead and hit continue. It says place tile 3A, 1 chest, 1 small table, and 1 staircase. And I'll go ahead and scroll over so you guys can see what's being placed way over here. We'll go ahead and hit continue. Varix perks up at the sight of the small table. That map near the table looks useful. Let me investigate it. So that's something we need to interact with for sure. I'm never going to be unhappy when I see a treasure chest at the back of a room. Now, Varix here has to make a choice. I have 2 more actions left. One of them has to be a maneuver, which gives me 3 movement points, which would just put me at the bottom stair, which is not close enough to interact with anything. So the question becomes, if I spend my other action on maneuver, which thing should I go after? The map that the app alluded to that Varix seems to recognize, or the treasure chest because Cyrus is a very evil individual and stole everything off the bookcase? How about beside both of them, seeing as Varix really wants them both? Unfortunately though, Varix's turn is over, no more actions left. Cyrus gets to go next, so Cyrus is going to be heading down there and rooting around a little bit. Cyrus's maneuver action gets him to the bottom stair of the staircase, and now I have to decide which of the 2 I'm going to go after. I'll probably go after the chest, I think, just because I want Varix to interact with the map. Cyrus is ready to start attempting to root around inside the treasure chest, if he can get it open, of course. Back inside the app, Cyrus will now interact with the chest. We'll draw a line over to the chest from him. It says, a well-crafted lock holds the chest closed. I knew this thing was going to be locked. You will need a deft hand to manipulate it. It's agility. Now, agility on poor Cyrus is -1 success to start. Hopefully we can change that when we roll our skill dice here. Let's see how this goes. We got ourselves 3 successes and a surge. Can we get anything off the surge? We could. We could actually use the hero card surge, which states we add a success and you may move 1 fatigue from 1 card to another. We don't have any. So really, 4 successes overall. Pretty happy about that. Inside the app, we'll go ahead and hit 1, 2, 3, and 4 and hit continue. Is that enough? No, it's not. You're closer to opening the chest, but there is still some effort required. That's all the actions for Cyrus, so it looks like Varix is actually set up to take on both of these things at the beginning of the next hero phase. So inside the app here, we're going to go ahead and hit end phase. Darkness phase now commences, and again we get to resolve anything that's in play. We don't have anything. We'll go ahead and hit continue. Back to us. Varix is going to go ahead first and interact with the map on the table. So we'll drag him all the way to that table. It states on the table you find a letter from the Baroness and a corresponding map on the wall. Be on the lookout for increased Athuk activity. There are rumors that a powerful blood witch named Necrul is performing strange rituals in the forests of Forthen. I fear what she may be attempting to do. Any Athuk sightings should be reported to me at once. I've asked our apothecaries to pass along the recipe for our vigor potion. I recommend having a ready supply. Well, we have a couple in hand, so that's good, but having the recipe is even better to make it later. Glancing at the map on the wall, it seems covered in marks of attacks with a circle around a small part of the woods nearby. Seeing them all together, the Athuk forces have grown bold indeed. We'll go ahead and hit continue. The following recipe has been added to your inventory to be used later. Vigor potion recipe added. Nice. You just found a consumable recipe. Recipes can be crafted in Frostgate using crafting materials. Crafting materials can sometimes be dropped by defeated enemies or from searching terrain. There's more about that inside the booklet. Now, there's a whole section of the Learn to Play guide we haven't even touched yet surrounding the campaign and how this all works when you get to Frostgate. So there's a lot that we haven't even seen yet. We'll go ahead and hit continue. It says underneath the stack of papers you find a small key. So we got our next key that we need. And the objective, of course, updates along with that. The urgency of the Baroness letter sticks with you. Perhaps a partnership with the Baroness could help you. These are Varix's virtues. Virtues have an effect on your hero's fate and journey. And again, as we mentioned when we were reading through Cyrus's thing, all the same things apply here. We have a choice between 2. One's rebellion, one's vision. It says break the Dragon Lord's hold on your kin as our main virtue, or build a new safe haven for your fellow hybrids. I think the safe haven sounds pretty good. Let's go with vision. And just like that, we are all done. Now, I'm going to go ahead right away and have Varix interact with the treasure chest, because at this point in time, I don't believe there's anything we can do with the table, although I'll try one more time with the table just to see. There's nothing left to gain from the table. You may perform an additional action. There you go. So we can go ahead and move this over to the chest. A well-crafted lock holds the chest closed. You will need a deft hand to open it. It's agility this time, so 2 black dice. Agility on Varix is 0, so whatever we get here is adding to nothing. So here we go. Hopefully it's something better than that. We got ourselves a surge and 2 successes. So a surge in this current situation Only applies if we're doing an attack. It would give us additional successes from the Warbell. Not going to apply here. I can use the Surge on my hero card to give me 1, and I can discard a condition. But again, don't have any conditions, so totaled up, it's 4 successes going into the app. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Hitting continue. The following has been added to your inventory to be used later. 4 leather, 2 taros and some no-toed boots, 16 herbs and some glooming mold, and a guardsman's grip recipe. Very cool. Underneath the chest, you find a small key. So we've got our last key, which will now allow us to get through that giant iron gate. You have found all the keys you need to open the gate. Yes, we have. And the objective updates. All right, so I think it's time to head there. For Varrix's last action, he'll do a maneuver, giving him 3 as he heads up the stairs. That's as far as he's going to get this time around. We're going to end the hero phase inside the app. We'll click the button. It moves on to the darkness phase at this point. And again, we can resolve fatigue and conditions. We pass this, comes back around to us, and let's get our hero situated at the front of that iron gate. Varrix will activate first. He's going to go up 3 with his movement. Then he's going to use another maneuver action to get another 3. That'll get him all the way up to the gate. Now, I do have 1 action left, and I could interact with the gate. I'm actually kind of tempted to do this. It might be a bad idea, but let's do it. Inside the app, let's pan over here to the gate. We're going to have Varrix with the last action interact with it. Hopefully we can get it open. Sliding the 4 keys into their respective locks, you hear a soft click. The gate swings open easily. We remove the gate. It now states to place tile 17A. It's quite a large tile. We also have some tall pillars to place at the top of this as well. So we're going even higher up. A stone table dominates the center of the parapet. Interesting. All right. And then we've got 2 shaking villagers are chained to either side. Oh, this is not good. So those will be represented by explorer tokens. We'll go ahead and hit continue. We're going to have a berserker in here. That's going to be unfortunate. And we also have another berserker, but you notice there's 2 different color bases, orange first and then a green. So we'll make sure to set those up correctly. It's almost a lime green. Go ahead and hit continue. The Athuk stand near the shaking villagers, one looking out on the horizon as though waiting for a signal. Okay, very creepy. Objective updated, we need to save the villagers, which basically means we need to kill these berserkers. Let's set things up on the table. And just like that, the platform has been created. We are done now with Varrix's turn. No more actions left. We're going to go back over to Cyrus. We're going to have some company really soon. The great news is that with 2 maneuver actions, Cyrus can get right to where Varrix is, which is within range 4 with his current glimmering wand, where he can make an attack against one of these berserkers. So jumping inside the app, let's go ahead with Cyrus and his glimmering wand. He'll attack the orange-based miniature, and he's using that glimmering wand. Let's see how things go. He's got an orange die, which we're not going to roll. It states the enemy's damage is permanently increased by 1. It's not so good. All right, so here we go. We got ourselves 2 clean successes on this one. Do we have anything we can do in addition? No, we do not. We could potentially shift if we wanted to burn some fatigue, but we have no reason to do that. Heading inside the app, we'll put in 2, and we'll go ahead and select confirm to see how this pans out. So only 3 damage, not very good. We're going to need to do a little bit better than that. I might need to flip this wand over to the other side and get a little bit closer later on. So we'll hit continue for now. That's going to end it for the hero phase. And unfortunately, we now click the button and head into the darkness phase, which should be a lot more interesting. We don't have to resolve anything around fatigue or infection and terror at the moment, so we can go ahead and hit continue. It's going to tell us that the berserker, the one closest to the camera, which has the green base, is going to be targeting Varrix. And it says bloodlust after the defense. The berserker shifts 1 toward and attacks the second hero if possible. So that's really bad that I just put both those heroes in the exact same close proximity, because this berserker is going to beat on both of them. I had forgotten about that bloodlust ability for these berserkers. It's going to cause me some grief here. So the first berserker is now in position. It's attacking Varrix. We're going to have to roll a die to see how much we can defend off this hit of 4. Let's go ahead. Oh, that's a pretty good roll. We got ourselves 2 successes and an advantage. That really was nice. Do we have anything here we could do? Actually, you know what? Taking 1 damage wouldn't be all that bad, but I'll convert 1. So I'll take 1 fatigue, which I will place on... I don't want to place it on my warbell. I'll place it on my character's board instead. and that's going to allow me to get 3 successes, so I have to take 1 damage off of Varix, bringing him from 8 down to 7. Taking a look at the game board right now, the Berserker doesn't have to move anywhere. It can stay exactly where it is because it's still adjacent. It's now just going to go ahead and attack Cyrus. So we'll go ahead and roll a defensive die because we know it's 4 damage and hopefully I can block a lot. So we got a Surge and a Success. With my Surge on my hero card, I know I can convert that to another success, so that's decent. That's about as good as it gets. So I'm taking 2 damage, dropping me from 6 down to 4. Back inside the app, we'll go ahead and hit done because we're done with that Berserker, but now the other one's going to activate. This one's coming after Varix as well, so basically it's just going to go right in front of our heroes. So the Berserkers have come to the front door to greet our heroes. How nice of them. Although they're hitting both of us each time, that makes things fun. So strategy-wise, I really need to make sure that we're not close together for the next upcoming darkness phase, because that would be very bad. So at this point in time, Varix is getting attacked, and you can see the damage is 6. It's a lot. I don't like it. So we're going to go ahead and roll a defense die here. 6 damage is so much. Oh, this is going to be a pain. This could really be a problem for us. We got 2 successes on the die. Can I make anything else happen here? No, the survivor skill is only during my attack, so I can't use it right now. So unfortunately, that's as good as it gets. So I'm taking 4 damage on Varix, bringing him from a 7 down to a 3. Cyrus, you're getting attacked next. That's so much fun, isn't it? You're going to have to roll your die to see if you can handle it. And you got yourself a Surge and a Success. So we can convert one of the Surges to a Success. So that's 2. So 4 damage going to Cyrus. And guess what? Cyrus only has 4 health. So as you can see, 4 health on the dial. That's going to be reduced down to 0. If a hero's health is ever reduced to 0, they are now wounded. So when a hero gets wounded, they set their health dial back to their maximum health, and they go into the app and select their portrait in the app to view their hero information screen. They select the Wound Hero button and then follow the instructions. So taking a look back inside the app, we know that the attacks are all resolved now. I could interrupt this in order to deal with this wound I just got, but because I know this is going to be the end of the attacks, we'll just go ahead and hit done. And it states the Berserker howls, wide eyes gazing at Cyrus with unfathomable rage. Yes, it definitely put some punishment on them. So now we have to go into our character here, and we have to instruct it that we have wounded Cyrus. So we're going to go here and click on the portrait. You'll see right in the center there it says Wound Hero, so we'll click on that. Wound Cyrus? Yes, we need to. So it says Cyrus gains the Frustrated Injury. So we'll go ahead and grab that card specifically. The Frustrated Injury is on its minor side right now. It says after you attack, suffer 1 fatigue. So essentially this is how injuries work. You start with a minor injury on the minor side of the card. It can eventually turn into a major injury. And then of course, if you go beyond that, that's where you typically are informed by the app that the heroes have failed the mission or the quest. We've come all the way around to the hero phase. It's time to make sure one of these Berserkers does not stay on the board, and we probably should focus on the one that's throwing the most damage. I'm going to activate Varix first, and he's going to attack the orange-based miniature. Let's head inside the app and see how much damage we can do with the War Bell. Inside the app, I'm going to drag from Varix over to that orange enemy, and we're going to be using the War Bell as I mentioned, and this states anger. So again, this enemy is going to permanently be increasing its damage, so I really need to focus on taking this thing out. I've already got some damage on it, so let's go ahead and throw some more at it. So first off here, we're going to roll our die to see how much we actually land. Let's see how it goes. Got ourselves, this rolled way off camera, but we basically got a Surge. I can use that Surge on the War Bell itself here, and this War Bell allows me during my attack to add 2 successes and expose the enemy, so I'm pretty happy with that. The only thing I could do is potentially take 2 fatigue on my hero card to get another Surge, which I then could use to get a success and then discard a condition, but I think that's not necessarily worth it at this point. I'm pretty happy with just the 2 successes and expose for now. Just so you guys understand how expose works, is it's going to add 20% to the hero attack damage. And again, it's all calculated inside the app, which is pretty awesome. So inside that app, we'll go 1, 2, and the status is exposed. This should be a nice hit, hopefully. Confirm, we get 7 total damage going against this one, so not bad. Let's go ahead and hit it again. Let's see if we can pull off another attack. So Varix will go ahead, make another attack on the exact same character, and we're still using the War Bell. We're gonna go ahead and roll our die here. Hopefully we can wipe it out. We got another Surge, so perfect. We can again activate the exact same thing. We'll do 2 successes. Now the question is that gonna be enough? Based on the last attack, it ended up being 8 damage, so we need 9 right now. So that's where things get sticky. I might actually go ahead now to get that extra success and wipe it out. I'm going to take 2 fatigue. I'm going to place it on the hero card, which is just off camera. So I've got 2 tokens here. That's going to allow me to gain a surge, which I then am going to use the hero's surge ability on the card to gain another success. So now we have 3 successes going in. So we'll go ahead and go 1, 2, and 3. Hit confirm. That should wipe it out. So we'll go ahead and hit continue. The following has been added to your inventory to be used later. 6 bone from some claws, and we get to remove that berserker. Awesome. I'm a little bit stuck where I currently am because, again, I'm impeded because I'm beside one of the enemies. So all I could do when I go ahead and use my maneuver action for Varix is just move 1 space or just come up the stairs a little bit. The berserker has also been completely removed, so we only have 1 left, and Cyrus is going to go next, and hopefully, fingers crossed, we can do enough damage to take it out, but I highly doubt it. Inside the app, we're going to go ahead and drag from Cyrus over to the remaining berserker. He is using the glimmering wand. Ooh, actually, you know what? Do I want to go back and actually ready this thing to the side? No, I think I'll leave it as is so I can get 2 attacks in rather than doing a ready and flipping it. So let's go ahead and use the glimmering wand. Anger, this enemy's damage is going to be permanently increased by 1. Every time we seem to attack it, it's going to continue to do this, making life fun. We're going to go ahead and roll an orange die here to see how things go. Hopefully it's a positive. We got ourselves a surge and a success. Not bad. Okay, so 1 success. What can I use the surge for? Just the basic hero surge gives me another success, and I can move 1 fatigue from one card to the other, but I don't have any for Cyrus. So total of just 2 damage going through here. So we'll go ahead and hit 2. See how much that puts through. Probably not that much. Yeah, just 3 damage. So that's really not going to work for me, although I'm not really too happy with what happened there. Although I didn't really want to waste time and maybe wanted to put 1 more hit on it, and then I'll maybe use Varix or have to flip over Cyrus's weapon to see if a different damage type is going to affect this character, because currently the one I'm using on both characters is not matching up with one of the weaknesses shown in the app. We'll go ahead and hit continue. I'm going to do the exact same attack again. Same wand. And again, permanently increasing the damage. So that's the only downside of continuing to attack it, is the damage is going up. Oh, that was a good one. So we got a success, a surge, and an advantage. So I'm going to go ahead and convert the advantage for sure. So what I'll do is I'll place this one on the, I think I'm going to put on the glimmering wand. Yeah. Fatigue on the glimmering wand for that. So that's going to allow me to convert it. So I've got 2 successes. The surge gives me another success. So that's 3. Pretty happy with that. Let's input that into the app. 1, 2, and 3. See what we get for damage here. 5 total damage, and we'll hit continue. Just like that. We have to now maneuver if we would like to. So again, because Cyrus was impeded to start, he was on the staircase just down here, moved up 1 because he was adjacent. He's only going to get 1 point of movement. You can see I'm trying to separate the heroes so that their attack berserker, I believe, or what was a bloodlust, is going to stop hurting me so much. But no matter which way I go at this point in time, this individual is still going to be able to shift to hit both of my heroes no matter what I do. We'll head back inside the app and we're going to end the phase. One thing I want to mention is I probably should have gone ahead and used the Vigor Potion on Varix's turn. That's probably going to come back to haunt me. It states that during my turn, you or an adjacent hero can either heal 3 or discard 3 fatigue. So being that Varix is at 3 right now, and we have this last Berserker who's probably going to be able to attack both of us, plus hitting us with extra damage because of its wonderful abilities, this could be bad for Varix. He may not be able to handle this attack. So let's go ahead and hit end phase in the app and see what pain is coming our way. So first off, we get to discard some things. So I'm going to go ahead and discard the fatigue off the Glimmering Wand and 1 off of Varix's hero card, but Infection and Terror don't apply here. We'll hit continue. So, ooh, it looks like Cyrus will be the first target attack, but as we know, Bloodlust will still have it attack Varix as well. 6 damage. Yikes. Okay, so first off, there's going to be some movement. The Berserker's going to move 1 position towards Varix, or I should say towards Cyrus, in order to be adjacent. So looking at the tabletop, we're going to have 1 movement, really just flipping around like so. Now Cyrus is going to have to make a defensive roll, so let's go ahead and see what he can do to defend against this. He's got a Surge and a Success. All right, so with my Surge, I'm only going to be able to get 1 extra success. So really just 2, which means 4 damage is coming through, knocking me from 7 down to 3. That wasn't exactly the best outcome, but at least he didn't take any more injuries. Back on the game board, the Berserker's going to shift to attack a second hero, which it certainly can. So it's basically just going to turn around and shift 1 position over to Varix. This Bloodlust ability is pretty vicious. Let's go ahead and roll the defense die for Varric, see if I can hold off something. I've got a success and a surge. My surge is only good for during an attack with the Warbell, so I can't use that, but I can use the default one on the hero board that'll give me 2 successes, and I can manage to discard a condition if I had one, but I don't. So 2 successes means 4 damage is coming through, so guess what? Varric is going to be taking a minor injury, so we'll have to tell the app this. So taking a look inside the app, we'll go ahead and hit done. We know it says your foes hunt for the weakness they cannot find. No enemy tactics. Oh, okay. So they have enemy tactics potentially with these guys. That does not sound good. Okay, so what we're going to do is hit on the hero card for Varric. Basically, this dial right here from 3 would have dropped all the way down to 0, but then it gets recharged back up to 8, but I now have to tell the app that I am wounded and it will throw a minor injury at me. So inside the app, we hit wound hero. Yes, wound hero. Varric gains the hesitant injury. That does not sound fun. We'll go ahead and get that and find out what it does. Now, just before we go ahead and resolve that, I'd forgotten about the wonderful minor injuries on Cyrus and the fact that he should be suffering fatigue after each and every time he attacks. So he did attack twice last time, so I'm going to go ahead and place 2 fatigue on his hero board, but then going into the darkness phase, we would have been allowed to remove 1, so technically only 1 would be left, and I'm going to have it on the glimmering wand as that's the one I would have had it on. So that was a miss on my part, and what I'm going to do to ensure I don't miss that again in the future is I'll just move this card over here so that as soon as I go ahead and do my attack, I'm thinking about that suffering of the injury. Now on this side of the equation with Varric, he just got the hesitant injury, his first one. It says after you flip a card, suffer fatigue. So now when I'm doing the ready action, it's actually going to have some negative effects for me. So I'm going to activate Varric this time around because I want him to do the attacking because he won't be taking fatigue in order to take this Berserker out. Plus his Warbell seems to be doing a really good job of putting damage on the character, and he's right beside him already. So inside the app, we'll go ahead and drag Varric up for an attack against the Berserker. He is using his Warbell. I really want to put some serious damage on this. It says the damage is being increased again, so we really want to make sure we take this thing out this time. So we got ourselves a Surge and an Advantage. Ooh, interesting. So the Surge will certainly be used to get 2 successes and expose the enemy, which will add some extra damage, so that's awesome. I might have a chance here, but let's go ahead and ensure it happens by taking a fatigue. I'll place it on my hero card for a maximum of 3 now on the hero card, which maxes out what I can put there and stops me from using the survivor ability at this point, but I don't need it, so it's okay. So 3 successes going through and expose. So inside the app, we're going to go ahead and go 1, 2, and 3. The status exposed applies, and we'll hit confirm. Oh, 11 damage. That's exactly what we needed to wipe it out. 1 huge attack takes out the last remaining Berserker. That is fantastic. Now we can focus on the Explorer tokens. Now this works out really well. So Varric is going to go ahead and use 3 movement, getting him right beside an Explorer token, and then we're going to interact with it in the app. The Berserker's been taken care of, Varric has run over, and we're now going to interact with the Villager here. Inside the app, we're going to drag from Varric over to the token. You also notice inside the app, you'll see some blood splatter on the character. So basically, that's a sign that they've already been wounded. So we'll go ahead and drag this over to this token. It says the chains around this villager are covered in strange markings written in blood. Test insight or will. So we get to choose here. Varric's insight is a +1 and my will's a +2. So I'm definitely going with will. So we got 2 out of the gates. We're going to roll here, find out what we get. You might not see the dice on the screen, but I'll do my best to roll them in. Oh my gosh, that is a pretty good roll right there. So we got ourselves 2 successes, 3 more successes, and 2 advantages. That's a ton. So what I'm going to do to make sure this actually happens is I'm going to put 1 more fatigue. I'm only going to do 1 to convert 1 of the advantages. I won't do any more than that because we have 2. 1 from a conversion is 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. If that doesn't do it, I don't know what does. So we'll go ahead to the app and go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It's a huge success, I hope. The chains release around the villager. He thanks you breathlessly. When they came for us so boldly, kidnapped us both in the middle of the day, I thought we were done for. The Blood Witch told the guards to keep a lookout for the red light. He points out in the distance. At that moment, we were to be sacrificed to strengthen her power. Oh, geez. We're going to discard the token that's there as well. So we'll go ahead and remove it. And now it states that we have saved 1 of the villagers. Of course, we have the other one to deal with, but that's going to end Varric's turn. We're now going to switch over to Cyrus. Now looking at Cyrus, we have 3 health. We already have a minor injury and I really don't want to get more of it. So let's go ahead at the beginning of his turn here, use his Vigor Potion so I can heal 3. So we're going back up to 6. Vigor Potions discarded. We've bumped ourselves up by 3. Thankfully, we did this with Cyrus. We didn't do it with Varix in time, which was a big time miss on my part, but we're A-okay here. So that doesn't cost an action. That was just simply says during your turn, you can go ahead and heal up. So now we're going to do our movement to get to the Explore token and, of course, use an action to interact with it. So let's head into the app. We'll have Cyrus interact with this token, and it says the chains binding this villager are tight and held fast with a lock. We can test our might or our agility. Well, our might and agility for Cyrus are both a -1, so not great out of the gate. So not as good as Varix. We'll see how we do on the skill roll, but it's got to be good. So let's see what we get here. That one rolled a little bit away. We got 2 successes and another success and a surge. Not too terrible. So what I'm going to do here is use the surge from my hero board to give myself another success. So we have a total of 4, which isn't terrible. It's not great, but it's good. And we can also move some fatigue around if we want, but honestly, well, actually, I'm going to move fatigue. I'm going to move fatigue from the Glimmering Wand over to Cyrus's hero card because remember, the current Phoenix Bond ability on his card says that we can use a unique action, and as much fatigue that's built up on the hero card in the future could potentially deal damage. So that's pretty awesome. So let's do that because it could be a really powerful attack we want to build up towards later on. So we are going in with 4 inside the app. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Hit continue. The chains hold firm. I knew this was going to happen. So we're going to have to go after this again. Let's interact with it a second time with his last action to see if we can pull this off. We need to test might or agility again. Oh, actually, technically, I got 4 on the dice, but it was -1. So technically I should have only inputted 3 there. So don't worry, I'll -1 off this next check to even things out. All right, so technically we're gonna be minusing 2 now total. All right, so we gotta remember that, minusing 2. All right, we got ourselves 5 stars. Minusing the 2 is gonna be 3. I really don't think this is gonna be enough. Let's put this in the app. Hit continue. Ah, it worked out. The chains fall away as the person rises. Thank you. Beware the strange magic of that Blood Witch. She is more powerful and more sinister than you could imagine. Her forces manage to ambush us in our fields in broad daylight. They grow bold and dangerous. We go ahead and discard that token. So at this point, the objective has now been updated that we've saved both of the villagers. Are there others held captive here? Varix asks, the dragon hybrid speaking in soft sibilance. Not here, I don't think, answers one of the villagers, but folk have gone missing more in recent days. Rumors said it was a Thuk, but I didn't believe until, well, now. With the path beyond you clear of foes, you send the villagers towards safety while you turn your attention onward. From the parapet, you see a bright red light flash in the dense woods. The thickness of the tall treetops obscures your view below. Whatever evil plot the Athuk are working has taken effect. You look to each other. Now is the time to stand and fight. So at this point it says, I see the same evil in the Athuk as I saw in the Dragon Lords built on the sacrifice of the innocents. I will not rest until, and this is Varix's choice right now, those who would rule by fear are destroyed, or we have built a new world free of such tyranny. I'm going to continue to go vision with Varix. I think that's where I was going last time, but you can always switch on this. Cyrus states, it will take all of my knowledge and insight to defeat this evil. If we succeed, my legacy will live in the pages of history or the hearts of the lives we save. I'm going to say optimism, hearts of the lives we save. All right, so we're now going to place tile 1B and we'll hit continue. Heroes may move from a higher level to a lower level without a stair present. However, a hero cannot move from a lower level to a higher level without a stair or unless specifically instructed to do so. You can learn more about moving between levels. There's a whole section in the rulebook about this in terms of how to move around stairs. So basically, you can be adjacent to a stair here, like right here, and you can hop up onto the stairs. But there are some restrictions, so check the rulebook around that. All right, so the red light glows among the trees. We have a sight token being placed. And the objective's now been updated to investigate the source of the red light in the woods. As you can see, the tile has been placed below. We treat things like downward movement as if everything's on the same level adjacent, so you can find those rules inside the book. There's also a site token we obviously have to go after, but guess what? We're done our hero phase. We burned all the actions that we needed to do, so we're going to go ahead inside the app here and we're going to hit end phase. And now the darkness phase is going to commence. It states to resolve our infection and terror. We don't have any. We can resolve now fatigue. And it states here each hero may discard fatigue. So with Cyrus, I don't really want to off his hero card because I actually want to build up a really big attack with him. So I'm just going to remove the fatigue actually off of Varix. So maybe what I'll do is I'll remove it off of his war bell, I think, for right now. Because I think I'll plan to flip his hero card in the near future to get rid of the 3 fatigue that is on it currently. Let's hit continue inside the app and we're safe as of right now if things flip over to the hero phase. Now what I want to check inside the app is there anything cool with this table? It says the sturdy stone table is artfully carved. There is a potted succulent and a jumble of knickknacks scattered across it. Okay, so it doesn't, I don't think, like, I'll try to interact with it and see. Maybe what we'll do is we will have, and this is the fun part, trying to figure out whether or not we're going to, let me think here. Do I really want to interact with this table or just want to jump down? I think Varix will try to interact with this. I'll have Varix go first this time. I guess Varix has gone first quite a few times in a row. Ooh, we can actually do something with this. Okay, so the sturdy stone table is artfully carved. We know this. We can either expect one thing or we can toy with the knickknacks. Let's inspect on the left. You inspect the succulent, you recognize it as having some medicinal properties. You cut into the waxy stem to reveal the soothing fluid stored within. You may heal 3 or discard 2. No, okay, actually, you know what's not, that's not terrible. We'll discard 2 fatigue from Varix, so that actually worked out okay. My health is currently maxed out, so I'm good there. So that's that. We'll go ahead and hit continue inside the app. Do I want to bother with the other interaction? Maybe we should actually just do both with Varix because he's right there. So he's going to toy with some knickknacks. So you pick up the knickknacks, including a few clever mechanical puzzles and some sort of dexterity toy. You scoop them into your pack for later. Ooh, interesting. Very cool. The following has been added to your inventory to be used later. 20 Kuros from the moldy baubles. And we'll go ahead into the inventory here, see where that is. Can we actually interact with any of this stuff right now? Probably not at the moment. We got all these different items in here now. Herbs, tons of herbs racking up here. Got vigor potions, consumables. The final thing Varix is going to do is he's going to hop down, and he has allotment of 3 movement, which will get him adjacent to the site token, but has no more actions to actually interact with it. So Varix gets down right next to the site token. We're now going to go ahead and activate Cyrus. As of right now, I don't have any burning desire to do any kind of ready changes yet on this character, so let's just go ahead and interact with that token. But first, let's head down there. Cyrus is now down there adjacent to the token. Use 2 of 4 movements, so after the site token's revealed, we'll be able to check out to see where we should move with the other 2 points if we wish to. Heading inside the app, Cyrus is going to go ahead and interact with that token, and it states, as you approach, the red light glows brighter and brighter. Discard this site token. All right, we'll do that. Okay, a huge tile 18B. Looks like we're going to have to reorganize the area here. Next up, inside the app, we'll hit continue, and it states 1 barricade, 1 cauldron, 1 chest, 1 lectern, and 1 tree are going to be placed in here. We'll hit continue. A shimmery red surface fills the opening of the archway. We place an archway as well.
Her laughter is poison, thrust into the heart of the barony. Blood's sister Nakrull's mocking voice echoes through the air, each syllable twin to a darker, more ancient chorus. She speaks with the tongues of demons, and her power will only grow.
Stands at the lectern, a twisted smile plastered across her face. You're too late, she cackles. Here, where the veil is thin, I have gained the knowledge I seek. Soon, Forthen and the rest of the baronies will bow before me and the blood coven. Even in my weakened state, defeating you shall be worth it. At this point, we are now spawning the blood witch, Nakrull. We'll continue inside of the app. It says, a blinding light flashes out of the archway and Necrul contorts in pain. The energy of her ritual has taken its toll on her. She calls for reinforcements as more enemies flood the watchtower. Necrul's reinforcements will arrive soon. We'll go ahead and hit continue. Final objective is to defeat Necrul. So let's go ahead and set this all up on the game board. This is how things appear on the game table. Looks pretty awesome. Now I know Cyrus is just off camera, but remember we used 2 of 4 movement to get down where we are because it was 2 spaces away. We interact with the site token, which is an action, dealt with that. We have 2 movement remaining, so I'll probably move Cyrus 2 spaces closer. Hopefully that's not a bad idea. And then we have 1 action remaining after that. Now is just 1 space. Cyrus is just 1 space shy of being able to take a ranged attack against this particular witch. So let's check out the app really quick. Now inside the app, it's worth poking around and seeing what these objects are. We don't have to commit to anything. It's also worth checking line of sight to make sure nothing in terms of blockable terrain is going to affect range shots. So things that would block line of sight essentially is the dragon statue, which is not in play, trees block line of sight, pillars block line of sight, doors and shelves, but everything else is fine. Now barricades are dangerous to the heroes and the enemies. They can kind of go both ways. If a hero attacks an enemy that's adjacent to a barricade, the hero adds 1 success to their attack. And the other way around is if an enemy attacks a hero who's adjacent to the barricade, the enemy adds 1 damage to its attacks. You can see by me moving 2 spaces forward with Cyrus, I'm safe. If I get hit by the enemy, the barricade won't add more successes, but we really don't want to be anywhere near that barricade and would rather have the enemy be closer. Inside the app, I'm still going to go ahead and click on a couple of the items here. So the chest says the chest lock is so rusted and damaged that no key could open it. Forcing the lid open would require a true feat of strength, so that's interesting. The barricade here states, and again, this is really specific to the rules that I just laid out, so we don't have to go through those again. We've got the cauldron there, so we have some steam rising from within an old iron cauldron. A hero may interact to search the cauldron if we want to. Right beside it, we have a tome that lies open on the lectern. The text within is some script you do not recognize, but judging by the scene before you, it must be some kind of blood magic, but you have more important things to do now than read. And then, of course, we have the tree. So we can also spend an action to search the tree and try and gather resources. Now, what I don't know is whether this enemy has ranged or melee attacks and which one it focuses on. So I really am having a tough time deciding, do I want to maneuver with Cyrus 1 more time in order to maybe get closer to the chest or the tree? I probably want to go up over towards the chest, so maybe I'll use 4 movement. As long as I don't stand beside the barricades, then I should be a-okay. And just like that, Cyrus has used a maneuver action to get closer to the chest. At this point, all of our heroes have taken their turns. We're done the hero phase, but we are going to stop right here for part number 2, and we're going to move into the darkness phase at the very beginning of the next episode, see whether we can take down this witch. Really hope you'll join me and hope you're enjoying the playthrough as you can see how Descent works and operates on the table. Really looking forward to seeing how this turns out and also what the app does when we actually complete this very first chapter of the story. Thank you guys so much for watching, and as always, keep on rolling solo.